Hello, homies, and here we are at our 200th episode of the Homeopathy Hangout podcast. Woohoo! For those of you who are the OGs hanging around with us all this way, thank you so much. I don't know how you've done it. I've barely kept up, so I don't know how you have. Thank you so much. For those of you who are new, welcome to the show. I hope you hang out with us for many more episodes. So as you may know, the incredible Miranda Castro, I call her the goddess of homeopathy, was the guest for our 100th episode, and she has agreed to come back for her 200th episode, which was lovely because it's actually her birthday this week as well. So that's made it all the more special. Happy birthday, Miranda. I hope you've had an amazing, amazing day. Little bit of a fun fact, somewhere along the line in the earlier episodes, there were 2 episodes which I never included the number of the episode in the title. So actually, technically, this is our 202nd episode. So there were 2 emergency episodes that we released, and in the rush of getting it all out ASAP, I forgot to put the title in there. So we do actually have 2 more episodes than what it says in the title numbers. So that's just a little bit of a fun fact for you. To all of you who have financially supported my show, thank you, thank you, thank you with all my heart. As you may know, it costs over $100 to produce each episode. So it's cost me over $20,000 to produce this show. We have had about $5,000 in donations through our Patreon site and through the Buy Me a Coffee. So thank you so much to those who have supported me with that. I guess unless you've had a podcast yourself, people just would not understand how much work goes into producing this. And to be honest, if I knew from the start how much this was going to financially cost me and cost me in time, I don't know if I would have done it. But I say that, but I probably would have, because the reality is I have managed to get in touch with so many incredible homeopaths around the world, which has just been a huge blessing. I've had hundreds of you private message and email me to tell me that you've enjoyed the show. I have had dozens of messages from you telling me that you are now studying homeopathy or thinking about studying homeopathy, or asking me for suggestions on which homeopath to see around the world. So that has been a real blessing. Many of you have also been in touch with me to ask me to get certain guests on the show. I really appreciate that. And also to our homies who are hanging out with me in the Facebook group, Homeopathy Hangout Podcast. I really appreciate you hanging out with me there. If you're not there already, go to www.facebook.com/groups/Hello Homies. And if you would like to make a donation to the show, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/hangout. So many of you might know that on Friday, the 2nd of June, which was actually our official 200th episode, we had a party here in Perth, and we had 100 mums and their bubs come along. We had a couple of dads there as well, celebrating the 200th episode. My incredible staff was there. They worked so hard. We had 4 of the 5 homeopaths on my team was there. So the lovely Sharon and Nicole here in Perth, they came to the party, helped me out. Lovely Ritu from Melbourne flew all the way over for the party just for the weekend. She came over with her husband. It was her first time in Perth. And the lovely Donna flew all the way from the Sunshine Coast just for the party. Unfortunately, Sarah couldn't make it, although last year she flew from Melbourne just for the party. So we really missed her this year. As you know, I've got 5 incredible homeopaths on my team. They see clients worldwide, and you can go to eugeniekruger.com to book with any of them. So we had a great time. If you go to the Homeopathy Hangout Facebook group, we've got some photos there. Or if you go on my social media on Instagram or Facebook at Eugenie Kruger Homeopathy, you'll find some of our party photos there. We had some wonderful food. We had Fairy Cara. We had Susie take some photos for us. It was just so incredible to see so many people around me who all love and embrace homeopathy. And for those of you around the world, I really want to encourage you to get together in person with your fellow homies and really form some networks and really support each other in this beautiful journey. I know so many of my listeners and my clients are pretty lonely in this journey. Often they don't have any family members that agree with what they do. They think they're all into witchcraft. So physically coming together with so many other like-minded homies, I know, is a real morale booster. Also, just a quick heads up that I'm going to be changing things up a little bit to prevent burnout and also financial ruin. So I'm only going to release one new episode per week, which will be on a Monday. And then on Thursdays, we'll have Throwback Thursday, where I will bring back one of our older episodes. So looking at the statistics of the podcast, all the newer episodes have had some incredible amounts of downloads, but some of our older episodes, which are equally as amazing, have not had as many downloads because I think most people, when they discover the show, start from the newer episodes and work their way back. So look out for Throwback Thursdays, where we'll have a return of some of our older episodes for you to enjoy. Thank you for listening to the show. I won't hold you any longer as we enjoy this beautiful chat with Goddess Miranda Castro. Enjoy.
Welcome to the Homeopathy Hangout, where we discuss all things homeopathy from around the world. And now my mum and your host, Eugenie Kruger.
Hello, homies, and a very warm welcome to our 200th episode of the Homeopathy Hangout with Homeopathic Goddess Miranda Castro. Woo!
No, I'm still a goddess. Yay.
Welcome to the show, Miranda. And thank you so much for agreeing to not only be our 100th guest on the show, but our 200th episode. So thank you.
How could I refuse you, Ginny? Oh my God, what an honor and a pleasure. And honestly, it's brilliant. I love you. I love what you're doing. And it's just brilliant to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And for anybody who wants to know how you first started homeopathy, they're going to have to go listen to the 100th episode because we already covered there. But today you were very brave and you said you'd come on and have a chat with us about what to do when remedies don't work, which is a really important topic because we talk a lot on the show about homeopathy working, but sometimes it doesn't, maybe straight away, or it starts working and then stops working. So
exactly. And so, yeah, because we talk mainly about our best cases, our cured cases. I think people who are scouring the internet to find out a bit more about us, they have the feeling that, oh man, it's just one remedy and boom, everything is healed, is cured, as it were. So I don't love the word cure myself. I think it implies the end of something, the end of disease for the rest. It implies living happily ever after, doesn't it? So I like the word healing, which implies more of a process. So I believe that we live in a dynamic relationship with disease, or between health and disease, our whole lives long. That's just life. That's the human condition. We don't get to be cured and live happily ever after. I don't think it didn't happen for me. Some people are lucky. They come into this world with brilliant immune systems. Their vital forces are strong. Both parents are healthy and free from chronic disease. And their lives are relatively uncomplicated. And the diseases they get respond rapidly to almost any healing input. So most of us, though, have a different tale to tell, don't you think?
Yeah, those people are my kids. They're the ones that are just so healthy and bounce back like miraculously, but that is not the majority of people, including myself.
Well, and not the majority of people we see, maybe. So obviously I don't see the bouncy, healthy people are not going to pay me for nothing. But I am interested in my own practice. I have been fascinated by people who've provided me with an extreme challenge, as it were. And this little boy, it's the child of a friend of mine, who had great difficulty teething. He was a huge baby with a huge head. He was a 10-pound baby. Do you do pounds in Australia?
No, but for some reason in Australia, we don't do anything in pounds except for babies. It's weird.
So that's like 4.5 kilos, something like that.
Yeah.
It's enormous. He was a big baby, and he just carried on as he started out. And his teething was a nightmare. And he was a sort of really cheerful child, really happy, bouncy, healthy, but teeth, very slow, huge teeth in this huge head of his. So, I mean, it just looked like his body was like just struggling to make all that bone to push through the gums. And he loved eggs. He asked for a boiled egg every morning for breakfast. He had sweaty hands and feet and a sweaty head when he slept. And so this is a piece of cake for homeopaths, isn't it? Yeah. We just go, oh, cob, easy peasy. Yeah. So that for years, with every tooth, he'd get a little cough or cold or diarrhea, whatever it was, or have pain, whatever it was. And we'd give him a little cob, whatever potency his mum had to hand. Oh, yeah, no problem. And the only other problem he did have was he had a lot of accidents. He used to fall and bang into things. I used to say it's because he was top heavy. He had trouble balancing. Anyway, he was an adorable child, and everybody loved him, and he was generally just a pleasure. So then, come 2 years old, he's got all 4 back molars coming in at the same time. And he became a nightmare. He really was suffering. He had so much pain. He couldn't sleep. He didn't know what to do with himself. So I just said, oh, no problem, Calcarea carbonicum, which is our favorite remedy for children, happy, healthy children who have trouble teething, who love boiled eggs and sweat a lot. Anyway, we tried several potencies. We went up in potency, and they didn't work at all. So now he develops a fever, and high fever, 103, 104. He's got no sweat. And this time his face is very red with the fever, and he's not thirsty at all. He's irritable and short-tempered with the pain. So the mother recounts all this, and I'm like, oh, that's, again, piece of cake. That's easy, isn't it? The remedy that is needed for Calcarea carbonicum children who throw a high dry fever with no thirst, that's like has a beautiful relationship, is belladonna. So I was sure it would work, but it did not. It didn't work at all. So he's getting sicker now. 2 days later, his cough is getting deeper and it's hacking. And he had still had a high dry fever with zero thirst, which was unusual for him. And his symptoms were hard to pin down and changeable. One day they were this, the next. The mother couldn't give me any clear modalities, if you like. And he had an odd craving at this point. He wanted butter. When she wasn't looking, he would just grab it by the fistful and shove it in his little 2-year-old mouth. So I gave Pulsatilla, thinking I didn't have any conviction this time, and I was beginning to get unnerved. It didn't help. The mother gave Gelsemium next, thinking it was the flu. That didn't work either. I look at the family history, and I'm wondering about the father has a very tubercular, lots of ear, nose, and throat, and allergies and lung problems. And I thought, I wonder if I've missed a miasmatic and inherited weakness here. And I gave him tuberculinum, and that didn't help.
No, you're sitting here on the edge of my seat.
So now I took his case very carefully. If I went and observed him, because I hadn't done that. I'd been prescribing on the run because I thought it was easy. I thought I knew the kid. And the mother was a bit desperate at this point. It had been over a week. But his symptoms hadn't changed, so that was good. I hadn't knocked off any of the symptoms with any of the acute remedies, so I had a nice, clear, clean case. And when I looked at the whole case really carefully, I saw the remedy that I had missed. I wonder if it has gone through your mind at all.
It's obviously clearly sitting in front of me, but no. So you've still
no. I mean, the obvious remedy for so at this point, the teething is so painful, he's banging his head on the floor. When you hurt so much.
Well, you gave tuberculinum because they can often do that with the head.
Yes,
and
exactly.
Belladonna, I would pick up for that as well, for the head bang.
Yes, they're all really obvious, aren't they? Except that's one missing remedy for very painful dentition that I hadn't, well, yes, that's a very interesting idea, but I didn't think of that. He's got red cheeks in circumscribed spots.
Oh, Camomilla.
Yeah, I didn't give yeah, well done.
Well, clearly it was blindingly obvious and I missed it too.
No, it was blindingly obvious. So I gave like a 200C or something, and he had a cough that matched in terms of that woke him up at night. And I gave chamomilla, and it seemed like a really clear case keynote. It would have been a keynote remedy. And the parents, what was the effect? It did not work.
No.
Didn't work. So mother takes the boy to the doctor, who says, yeah, he's got bronchitis now. And this kid is very sick. And you tell Miranda, because he was a local doctor. I was living in a small town, and we knew each other and respected and liked each other. And this is like heaven for homeopaths. It's where you can work with the local healthcare practitioners. So he said, tell Miranda she's got 24 hours. He said, and if he's no better this time tomorrow, I am going to admit him to the hospital. I mean, he's headed for hospital now. He needs antibiotics and he needs hospital care if he doesn't get. So now I'm under the hammer, aren't I? And what was odd, there were a couple of things that, and I'm saying homeopathy should have helped this kid.
Yeah.
What have I missed? What would anyone else have missed? Because none of these prescriptions weren't bad. They were the normal ones you would give, but they haven't helped him. So the banging of his head on the floor he was very, very angry easily now with the pain. He had a short fuse. Anything would upset him. He was inconsolable. Once he got upset, his mum couldn't pick him up like you can. Chamomilla, you can pick them up and then they start crying and want to be put down. He had gone past that stage now, and he was in inconsolable land. He wanted to be carried, but not cuddled. So, and at night, he would sleep with his mum and let her stroke him. That's it. That's the only touching he would tolerate. So did I have any, what we call in homeopathy, characteristic symptoms? Did I have anything that was unusual in the disease? He had this teething cough. He had gums which were like castle turrets. The teeth hadn't cut through, but they huge lumps in his gums which were red and angry. And so I looked at all the remedies in the chart for cough during teething. That's all I had. And I went through every single remedy in excruciating detail. Of course, I'd given 5 of the remedies in that little rubric already, so I didn't need to give those. And other remedies were easy to cross off because they didn't fit any of his symptoms. But there was one, and so when this happens, nearly always, this is for homeopaths and home prescribers, nearly always it means we need to give a remedy we don't know yet. Maybe a small remedy, or could be a polycrest, a bigger remedy, but we don't know it yet. How are we going to know it? If we don't know it. That sort of eternal question for homeopaths is, how do you find out what you need to know? So for me, what I do is I step back from knowing into a place of not knowing. And then I read and read and read. I go back to the basics, to original provings. I see if I can find something that I've missed because I didn't know it yet. So it was too late for arnica. It was too late for ferrum phos, which is also in that group of remedies. Too late for podophyllum, for children with bad teething who produce diarrhea.
Sorry, I think it was podophyllum maybe I was thinking of. Is phytolacca?
No, phytolacca. No, you were good. That's also for teething. But I think it's beyond both those, all the remedies beginning with P. Hyoscyamus is in that little group, but it has dry coughs that are worse at night. His cough was day or night. Cuprum is in that group, but that's for spasmodic, asthmatic coughs, and he didn't have any kind of cramping, any of the symptoms you would expect to see with cuprum. Terebinthina is there. Antimonium tartaricum is in that group. Well, that's a remedy for very loose coughs. Also in irritable children, that was a possibility, but usually GI symptoms. Ipecax there, but you'd expect an ipecac symptom of some kind, drooling. He didn't have any drooling. Or a clean tongue, that's the keynote symptom for that beautiful little remedy. So, magnesium carbonicum and rheum are also there, but both have that characteristic sourness. Now, I didn't cross the ones I didn't know off, but when I got to creosotum and read it, I said to myself, hang on a sec. The words very painful dentition are there. And you don't see those 3 words together in any other remedy. People who need the remedy, who need this remedy, are worse for being, the children are worse for being cuddled. They want to be picked up and they will tolerate being cuddled a little bit, but only at night when lying down in bed. It's a keynote symptom for the remedy. The cough is tormenting. It's dry. It's constant. It has fever without perspiration. So creosotum is the only remedy in the rubric shrieking at night in bronchitis during dentition. It's a bold.
Wow.
Yeah, so then I looked, I did a big search, I found all the dentition rubrics, saw how incredibly important this remedy is for children, teething children who do not respond to the usual suspects, who don't respond to chamomilla, especially chamomilla. It's so close. The trouble with me is that I had an idea about creosotum from our predecessor, friend Kent, who told us that you have to have burning pains, you have to have acrid discharges to give creosotum. And so I just poo-pooed it. But he had no bleeding, no putrid discharges, no rawness, no decaying teeth. All his teeth were good. And I decided his moods were putrid. He just fit the very painful, it was a small remedy where the cough, a teething bronchitis. Oh my goodness. How had I overlooked that all those years? This is this case is 30 years old now. So, but because I have an update about it, it's really, and because it's such an important and little known remedy, I love telling people about it. I gave a 200C. His cough cleared up overnight, gone. His health stabilized. He returned to his sunny stealth. His teeth came through easily with no further problems. His craving for butter disappeared. He went back to eating eggs every day. And there's always a punchline.
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't just have a big head. He had a tall body. He was a head taller than his contemporaries.
Wow.
At each stage and age of his growing up. But even at 2, he wasn't a whole head taller, but he was 3 or 4 inches taller than all other 2-year-olds. People thought he was always a year older than he was. Mm. And if you look up in the repertory under generalities or in Allen's Materia Medica, you will see children are overgrown.
No.
It's along with phosphorus and Calcarea phosphoricum and tuberculinum. These are all tall children remedies. So this was so fascinating to me. I just got more and more interested. 2, 3, 4 years later, I was visiting my friend. They were living in a farmhouse that had no heating. Everybody was really sick. They all had terrible coughs. They'd had them for weeks. And this boy, I just said, no, we're not repertorizing. We're not getting clever. This remedy works so beautifully for him. It is probably constitutional. So I just repeated it, and his cough was the one that cleared up first.
Oh, wow.
Magic. It carried on working for him throughout his whole childhood. He'd never needed another remedy.
Far out. What would be interesting is to know, because I think creosote's made from wood tar. So it'll be interesting to know if there's some carpenters maybe in his family that used a lot of wood tar.
Here's what there is. Here's what there is. There is something. So creosote is it's an oily liquid, and it's caustic to the skin. And the homeopathic remedy is made from beechwood creosote. So the mother remembered that as a child, she was given cough syrup as a child. She said she could taste it because it contained creosote.
No.
I don't think this was her last child. She had 4 other children. So the other children didn't have this problem. But it is a curious little background note, isn't it?
Very curious, very interesting. I mean, yeah. I think that's the thing where susceptibility comes down, is that they might have all been exposed to that. They had the same mum that had this cough syrup, but just expressed in this one child for whatever reason. Or maybe it's not even that. Maybe it's coinciding. But
I don't know. I don't think it was caused by it. Mm. I think it maybe didn't help.
Mm.
Is what the way I think about it. I think that he came in with this slate, written on, this tall child with huge bones, big head. It's so interesting, cause and effect. But
amazing. I mean, The part that I find fascinating is your journey of getting to that remedy, because I think most homeopaths, definitely myself, identify with that journey of feeling very proud of yourself. You got this, such an easy prescription, no brainer, and it doesn't work. And it's such a knock to the ego. And then, the next remedy thinking, oh, easy peasy, it doesn't work. And then the next one. And then thinking, okay, is it a miasmatic remedy? Okay, is it maybe this? Do I need a higher potency? Do I just need to repeat it more often? Have I given too much? Do I now just need to step back or maybe give a camphor to clear everything? Or, that journey that you end up going on to find that remedy. It's so hard, but it's so fun. Like I really do like when I get a tricky case and it takes me on this journey. And that's how I end up discovering butterfly remedies or gem remedies or this or that, because you go to the repertory, you see a remedy in there and you're like, oh, maybe it could be that one. And, we all have our biases towards remedies.
Yes.
And that's we
think we know them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or we learn a certain way. Like I think all of us homeopaths, we see a remedy through our own lenses. And so that's the part of that remedy that we focus on. And then you learn a remedy from somebody else, or you read a different materia medica. And even the masters had that, because a while ago I was reading just through the different, there's this great website, homeoint.org, I think, and it's got Ulrika and Kent and all those guys free of charge. You can have a look there.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, so I had a look through there, and it was really interesting for me to see just how the different homeopaths do kind of harp on certain things more than others. That's when I was thinking of writing that cough book, but anyway, that's a whole other story. So I was reading,
that's right.
I was reading up. That's on the back burner. I have something else up my sleeve. I was reading up on the different respiratory sections of all these different materia medicas and just how they all describe it so differently that it almost sometimes sounds like they're talking about a different remedy. So I just kind of took bits of everything and put it together to get like the whole picture. But I don't think any of us, including the old masters, were absent of remedy bias. I think they had that as well, because if you read it, sometimes you do see it in there. And we do get to, like, you could easily ramble off those modalities and the keynotes of certain remedies, but some of them we just don't know as well. And then it's just not something that not the first remedy that you would think of.
What becomes dominant for me at a certain point is two things. I feel very sad for the person who's suffering. So that becomes my primary focus, if you like. Because that's my highest calling, to alleviate suffering. And so when I'm not able to do that job, it's my heart that hurts rather than my ego, basically. But then what kicks in is my curiosity and my determination to solve the problem. Because that's one of my superpowers is problem solving. And so I'm like, get like a dog with a bone. But man, so I can look back on this situation and I can say several things. Wow, what a hero the mother was. How come? Well, she had lots of other children. She was busy and she could see that he was survived. He wasn't that bad. I mean, he had a bad cough. He was in pain. But she's got a very high tolerance for her kids being sick, clearly. And it wasn't that she believed in homeopathy or didn't believe in conventional medicine. She was on the path with me, I guess. So I just got lucky in the end. I got dogged and I followed the right path and solved the problem. And then it was a lifetime solution. So that's a miracle. And I have another little case here where the solution worked for this person.
Please share that with us. I just quickly want to tell you a really cool acronym for luck or lucky is labor under correct knowledge. So you weren't lucky. You just had labor under correct knowledge.
Well, I just chose the right rubric. I did a good job there. And then I worked. I regard these as my learning cases. I know I'm going to learn something if I can solve the problem. And I hope that whatever I learn, I can then share, and it will be useful to more than just me. So there we have it. This little baby was born at home. It was a lovely home birth, but something went awry during the birth, and she inhaled meconium, a lot of it. So for those of you that are not familiar, this is an emergency situation. Meconium is the substance. It's in the rectum. It's the first stool a baby passes. Sometimes they pass it during childbirth. And usually it's not a problem unless they pass it before the waters have broken, or as they come down the chute, they sometimes inhale some anyway. Or if their noses aren't aspirated correctly, sometimes it's a problem there. Anyway, it's sticky. That first stool that a baby passes is like black tar, literally. It's been in there for a long time, and it's like a plug. And if the baby inhales it and it gets into the lungs, then like black tar, imagine in the delicate developing tissues of the lungs. I mean, most babies, formerly they died. They didn't survive that. Before the advent of the heart-lung ECMO, the heart-lung machine. So she was rushed to hospital, put on ECMO. This is a very frightening thing for the mother. The babies, they're given a lot of meds, sedation, medications, all kinds of meds, a lot of more opiates, because the machine breathes for the baby. It takes the blood out, circulates it, oxygenates it, and pushes it back. So it basically provides the circulation outside lungs for the baby until the meconium is absorbed, and it can take weeks, many weeks. A fairly high percentage of babies would die even on ECMO. Even if they didn't die, they would have lifelong developmental delays, mental, emotional, physical from it. Okay, so we've got a crisis. It's a big crisis. And the baby, because there are no symptoms, all you have is the fact I saw the x-rays and the lungs were completely whited out. There was no air spaces at all in there, none. So what else was she given? Morphine, Ativan, a tranquilizer to sedate her, phenobarbital for seizures. She'd had a few in the beginning. Dopamine to bring her blood pressure up, antibiotics, dextrose, heparin to prevent blood clots. I mean, it's unimaginable. So we have to be grateful for this kind of extreme heroic medicine. It's a sort of supreme challenge for homeopaths, isn't it? It's not what we want for our patients or ourselves, but when it saves, if it's life-saving, then we have to breathe into it and just be grateful for all the nursing staff, for the thousands, tens of thousands of dollars a day that it's costing. So she didn't have any characteristic symptoms. She just had asphyxia of newborn. That was it. So her lungs, she didn't have rattling in her chest, but her breathing was fairly normal. She didn't have any discoloration. She had no interesting urinal stools. I mean, so this is all reported by the mother. So I considered all the collapse remedies like camphor, carboveg, veratrum, but none of those. She didn't have any keynote symptoms that matched them. And the only remedy that has, I don't know if you've used this, Eugenie, is laurocerasis. For
useful polio.
The little evergreen shrub in the Rosaceae family. And it has one of the keynotes is drinks roll audibly through the abdomen, but she wasn't drinking anything, but both hydrocyanic acid, which is contained within laurocerasis, a small amount, and laurocerasis have marked debility and lack of reaction, especially in lung and heart disorders. So I just decided that the lack of symptoms pointed to a small remedy. This is how we think, where it's a keynote. The symptom is a keynote for that remedy. It's so big. And she's in an NICU, a newborn ICU. So obviously she can't give the baby anything, the mother. So we did figure out a method that I have used since. We put the remedy in water in a little spray bottle, and she labeled it holy water. And she told the doctors it had been blessed.
That's amazing. Well, it had been.
And so I gave the mother permission to spray it wherever she felt, wherever she could, feet, hands. And if she was able to put her hand on the baby's chest, or especially the whole of her chest, to maybe spray some on her hands so she could put it on her baby's lungs. And this is to cut a long story short, because I think it's a case that went on over many weeks, actually. But the mother was able to repeat the remedy in the first 24 hours several times. She didn't remember how often. And she gave several doses that night and one the next day. And the doctor, after 32 hours, took a second, 32 hours after she'd been put on the machine, took an X-ray of her lungs, and they went from being nearly completely whited out to completely clear.
Wow.
He'd never seen anything like it. He didn't understand it. He thought he had done an amazing job. So that was interesting, because they said she should prepare for weeks, and she was off the machine within 36 hours.
That's amazing.
So now, at this point, it was very interesting. You talk about ego. My ego kicked in a major way at this point, because the doctor took full responsibility for her healing, but so did her friends who'd created a prayer circle and prayed around the clock. And they thought they had healed her. And I was like, hang on a sec. And so that's always a challenge when you want a little bit of credit and it's hard to get. And so it was, my ego was on the block at that point. But recognizing it, just naming it and facing it, enabled me to laugh at myself and let it go, honestly. So the next few weeks, things were, oh my gosh, they were so messy because her liver was a big mess. So all the drugs, I gave her a little Nux vomica at one point. I gave her opium when she came off all the opiates. I gave her opium in a 200C to help her body clear the side effects from that. an ipecac at one point when her chest started getting congested again. At one point, she had terrible night terrors. She was really full of fear and having a hard time calming down, especially when they took her off all the tranquilizers. And so I gave her stramonium. These were all single doses of remedies to help her heal on every level. But she came home within, I think, 2 weeks, and she had a cranial osteopath work on her. She had all kinds of amazing support, masseurs and other people. And the mother is absolutely clear that first remedy, the lauroceresis, was the one that kick-started her healing. Not cure, her healing. Really kicked it into high gear. And we were just very lucky we were able to get that remedy to her. So have you used lauroceresis?
I have once. I think it was for a boy who was tippy-toe walking, and there was some polio in the family, and this whole walk, for some reason, I can't actually remember, but it was a long time ago, but I know I've used it once.
So I've got a chart. You can put up charts, can't you? Can you? PDFs?
Yeah, I can put it in the group, in the Facebook group.
Yes, exactly. So I've got a chart differentiating the asphyxia of newborn remedies. It's nice. It's nice and clear and detailed. You know my usual shtick.
Yeah.
There's a punchline. You knew there was, didn't you? There's a punchline. So when did this happen? Which year was it? Let me just double check. Yeah, a year later. She's got her first cough since her birth. And it's a bad one. And the weather had been very cold and damp, and her mother gave her a load of acute remedies. Hepasulf and calcarea and a number of other remedies, none of which worked. And I did something that I learned to do from the creosotum kid. I gave her lauroceresis. And her cough cleared up overnight. And a year later, she got sick. She went traveling with her whole family. Everyone got sick with a ENT thing, basically a ton of nasal congestion and cough. Lauroceresis cleared it up within 24 hours. And throughout her childhood, every year or 3 or 5, she'd get a little cough or cold or something, and just a 30C of this same remedy cleared up all her symptoms. She was the healthiest child in the family. She was super strong in general. She just had those coughs and colds that kids get as they're building their immune systems. And she had no developmental delay. Actually, she was ahead of her class. She was the top of her class. She was brighter than the average bear. And she did really well at school. So it's just a beautiful, beautiful story. I mean, I did a big matching at some point. I looked at all the proving symptoms, matched them with what I knew about the child that she had grown into and talked to the mother. But you would have given, any homeopath would have given this child phosphorus if they'd come to her. She was that bright, lively, lovely kid, affectionate, responsive, sensitive, all those things. But lauroceresis is the remedy that healed her each time she needed some healing and helped her to, I don't know whether you'd say, step back into balance or recover her vital force, her equanimity, and her health each time. And I haven't given it again like this, but I've had other patients with similar stories where you give a big remedy, big means it's usually a small remedy. And then the next time they get sick, this is my big message to home prescribers especially. When you get an amazing response like this, don't change the remedy. Just stick with it, because if it works for the coughs and colds, and then it works for something else, and then it works for something else, then you've got your home dry. You don't have to work up, if it's your child, you don't have to work up their case over and over again. You don't have to guess. That's called constitutional homeopathy, isn't it? That's the highest pinnacle of our prescribing, where we can give the same remedy over and over and get a good healing response each time. And most homeopaths don't. Have you got a percentage in your practice where you get that, Eugenie?
It's on the smaller side because I have lots of very complicated cases, but I do have a few of those. I have a constitutional remedy and my kids do, and we can take it. It's the same one for all three of us.
Yes.
And it doesn't really matter what's wrong, but I know that that's what I can go to, and it's probably going to do something.
Isn't that great?
And get me back into balance. Yeah, I found that one by accident while I was studying. I'd been to a homeopath who'd tried loads of very fancy remedies. She was all into Sankara, that's what she taught. So she prescribed me so many weird remedies. None of it did anything. And then somebody at the college said to me, have you looked at your miasmatic remedy? And so I got my college textbook out. I just compared all the different miasmatic remedies, and I just saw, I took most of the ones in the tubercular column, just used tuberculinum, cured my issue, and that's been my remedy ever since for me and both my kids. And they went to different homeopaths, and the homeopaths prescribed that for them, not knowing what my remedy was. So it was quite funny, but that's the one that we can always go to, and it doesn't really matter what's up. I'll just take a dose of that and it'll get me back.
So that's just brilliant. It's the best. Mine's about, in my practice, I'm mainly retired now, but I did keep track of people I was able to give the same remedy to, and for chronic complaints, for acute complaints, and sometimes even after an injury, the same remedy will work if it's deeply healing for them. And that I had about 18-20% of people, which is standard. When I've talked to other homeopaths, they've said most people, we give a series of remedies, don't we?
Yeah.
And that's fine. There's nothing wrong in that at all. That's no shame in that. But for those people where we can just give the one remedy and feel happy.
I'm just particularly thinking of this lacuninum lady of mine that was definitely her constitutional, because also whatever's up, and she would keep on posting in our group saying she has this problem, she has that problem. And every time, like every few months, she'll post in the group saying she has this problem. And I'll just say, just take your lacuninum. She'll take a dose, email me back a few hours. She's like, it worked. And every single time, it's so funny now. It doesn't matter what's up with her. I'll just say, just take a dose of your lacuninum. And she'll email me back and she'll be like,
but she doesn't think to take it.
She doesn't think to take it. And that's the hilarious thing but I think that's part of that kind of lacuninum it can have like kind of that bit of hysterical aspect.
I think it's the same for all of us when we're sick.
It is. It really is when you're in that. And
I think it's literally unbelievable that I could take an aspirin for whatever's happening to me, because that would be, something similar, wouldn't it? You take the same medicine. Well, it must be placebo then.
It must be.
No. I mean, there's a little bit of placebo, but placebo is only temporary. The effects don't last, do they? They don't go very deep and the effects don't last. So I've had people who bought my book. One person in particular said their child had recurring coughs and colds. They were determined to try and figure it out themselves. They didn't have a local homeopath or couldn't afford. I don't know exactly. And so the mum, diligently went through her child's symptoms and repertorized them and worked up a number of remedies. And she did this thinking this is years and years ago, without knowing anything about constitutional prescribing, or when you put two remedies together. She saw what?
Oh, no. You mean like combination remedies?
No, I mean something else where you see calcarea and
like a relationship
yes. She saw that calcarea, that her child was basically a warm-blooded calcarea carbonica, because people who need calcarea are chilly by nature. She read sulfur, basically, and then put the two together, and because it didn't come out in the repertory when she repertorized all the symptoms, went and looked at calcarea sulfuricum and said, oh my, there's a couple of things that match really beautifully here. And she gave her child calc sulf, and it was a beautiful response. And she said that she had used it for all their complaints, that it had become her constitutional homeopathic go-to remedy. And guess what? She ended up studying to be a homeopath.
Well, how could you not after that? That's so satisfying when you could.
That's just like, I can die happy. When I hear stories like that, I think, oh, I've done what I came here to do. That's a lovely feeling.
You really have, Miranda, and you are an amazing storyteller. As you're telling this, I'm just thinking, I had this picture of Daniel as a little boy and you telling him stories, and I was thinking he must have been the luckiest boy in the world to get stories told from you, because you were such a good storyteller. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us. And
always a pleasure. 200. Well, we won't be alive in 200 years, but the podcasts and homeopathy will live on for another 200. I'm certain of it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Miranda. I'm sending you so much love from the other side of the world.
Healing hugs, happy, healthy homeopathy.
Have an amazing evening, and thank you so much for sharing your wisdom.
Thanks, Eugenie. Loads of love.